Okay, VC, welcome back. It's Seeking a Thread. Good day to you. Thanks so much for the great response on my last video, the unboxing of my Discogs experiment. It was like the best sort of views and reactions I've ever had to anything. I think it was probably, I think we can all relate to sort of trying to find a deal, and I have not really been listening to those records yet. I've been sort of involved in a bunch of other things, listening-wise, but I will get to them. I'm feeling fine with it. I did get my money back for the stuff that didn't work out, so we forge ahead and we live and we learn. I encourage everyone out there to keep digging though. Before I get started, I just want to throw out a few thanks to some commenters who I really appreciate just checking in. I mean, whether you subscribe or not, it's just cool to sort of go back and forth with people. Ryan Dooley, thank you for commenting on almost all the videos. Good talking with you. Agitation Free, great group. German Progressive, thanks for your comments. Brendan Andre, I'm sorry, I think it's Brendan Andre, yeah. Thanks, man. May have a video of your interest sort of coming up. And Christian, Vinyl Lover, thanks, man. Enjoying the live streams, and thanks for your help, your tips on doing live streams. I'm going to throw out a few other thoughts and thanks and praise to some other channels as I go through these records. First off, really, the first thing I want to talk about is the passing of U-Roy and Fat City Vinyl. Doug did an incredible, I'll link to it below, did an incredible video giving thanks and praise to Mr. U-Roy. Ewart. I know that's his first name, his original name, but U-Roy is the godfather and originator and sort of the one who would make most popular the style of toasting and DJ and chatting, as you were saying, Doug, in the 70s. Sort of, one of the most important figures in reggae music. And I didn't know that one of his tracks, his most iconic track, I'm just forgetting the title all of a sudden, was like #1 for weeks and weeks or whatever it was. Sort of forgetting some of the history already, but I do have. These are the U-Roy records I have, and I love these. Dreading of Babylon is known as a classic, and it is. This is like the Get On Down version, and this is also the Get On Down version of Version Galore. These are both incredible records. And the first time you really hear U-Roy, or just the idea of someone just sort of talking over a record, it's sort of humorous, but in a way it sort of really becomes super important. I don't know, something about it sort of really, it cuts through. It's sort of like he gives tribute and sort of like pays respect to the music and the rhythms that he's doing, but at the same time he's sort of like offering up some really incredible sentiments and statements, and U-Roy is incredibly important in the history of reggae culture. I implore you to check out Doug's Fat City Vinyl's most recent video, link below. Sticking with Jamaica and reggae, and this ska. This reissue just came out. This is one of the earliest records I ever bought. This is Jamaica Ska. It's the Scotalites on the Studio One label, or Coxsone. This is the Studio One. This is one of the many reissues and represses. I bought this in the mid-90s when I was just getting into vinyl, and I was really into ska at the time. I was finding out about ska, and this is great. But the Studio One label has been reissuing and in many cases remastering the original records, and this one they just did, came out today. And this is like a reproduction of the original label, and it sounds incredibly better. Right immediately at the start of Simmer Down, the Wailers classic, right on the downbeat, I was like, whoa, this blows away this old, somewhat recent reissue from the 90s. Incredible. This is an essential document of the Scotalites, and they have Doreen Schaefer on here singing Jackie Opel, and then just the different Scotalites instrumentals. Andy and Joey also doing a vocal on here, the Gay Lads. Incredible music. Fat City Vinyl, check it out. So let's move through these sort of most recent listens and finds, I guess. It's not a vinyl finds video. And I'll move into this mystery box. I'm trying not to make this video too long. Shout out to James Buttery, who's has been doing the Flying Nun updates and his sort of top 5 picks. and I'm a big Flying Nun guy. I'm learning, but I've been buying Flying Nun for a long time. This is the first EP by the Tall Dwarfs, Coming in the Ashes of Toy Love. This is on the Frontier, or I'm sorry, the Furtive label. It's the very first issue. I got this from a U.S. seller, which was cool, but it's got one of their classic tracks, Nothing's Going to Happen, and the Tall Dwarfs, a duo, sort of lo-fi, punk sensibility, very sort of like freewheeling, indie rock, I suppose. It's in the Flying Nun spirit, but these guys sort of were doing something a little bit different, less jangly, less sort of popish, and sort of more experimental and lo-fi-esque. Not even lo-fi-esque, but lo-fi. And Tall Dwarfs are amazing.
Nothing's gonna happen. Maybe all the children in small rooms will fall silent at a wall, a window. Don't forget to breathe for just one.
Shout out to Vinyl Douche. Great videos. Love your take on things. And this is a new band getting a ton of hype. Black Country New Road, and you basically said it. This it does follow in the footsteps of a lot of different bands. Jesus Lizard, Yes Slint, Godspeed, a lot of the post-punk groups. Idols is a more recent group, but I would encourage people, if you've heard anything about this, and there's the tons of UK hype coming out, and they seem to be sort of cut from they seem to be sort of coming like from like a Strokes sort of pedigree of like kids that have history, or their parents have history. I know there's some aspect to one of the parents being in a, was it Underworld? I forget, but yeah, it seems like these guys made it, quote unquote, because they had sort of connections. But whatever the case, I encourage you to just check this out. This won't be like my #1 record of the year or anything like that in terms of new music, but I like what it's doing. I like the directness and the honesty of the lyrics. I like sort of the heart on your sleeve sort of nature of it. I like all the sax. I like sort of the experimental nature and long-winded edition or songs of what they're doing. And this is the limited white version as well, if you care. So check it out. I do like it quite a bit. Only one of the releases 7-inch other than this. 100 Flowers. This reissue was actually one of the last RSD drops. This is a San Francisco post-punk group. Really, the Urinals, a much more straight punk but intense group. This is their EP with all the band's single and comp tracks. Now, I'm a huge fan of the self-titled record. I have it on the Happy Squid label. It's not very expensive. Superior Viaduct issue it. I thought that was all there was. I didn't even look into like if they had anything else, and lo and behold, they had a 12-inch and all sorts of singles. So this was great. It compiles all the rest of their stuff. It's on the In the Red label. And 100 Flowers is a great punk group to check out if you don't know them. A little bit of psych here. This is The Common People. This is new to me. I mean, I'm familiar with the record. I just got this. This is a one-off group on Capitol. This is a California group, and I've only heard it once, so I have more to report on this. But this is cutting through with a left field sort of progressive psych vibe, but with pop elements to it. It's got a late night vibe too. I'm looking for this sort of downer sort of thing happening. It's less sort of about upbeat fuzz tracks. This is a Canadian pressing, sort of like on the Rainbow Canadian label, which is always fun to see. The US version is on the lime green. It's from '69, and I'm enjoying it. I think this one's going to really start to grow on me. So, unbelievably, I never had this record, which is like sort of, I've known about it and I've heard it, and it's like, if you're into psych and sort of like where you're digging deep into psych, you know that this record is, and it is super important, super amazing, and like nothing else. And the originals are not going to happen ever. This is the CA Quintet. I finally got this. Why I didn't have it, I don't know. Just didn't. I just didn't. I missed the represses. This is the 2 LP version on Sundays. Not a lot to be said more than that hasn't been said. The Candy Floss original is like one of the biggest rarities there is in the psych world, and this is truly, it's called The Trip Through Hell if you didn't know. This is truly damaged, freakish, catchy, singular, I like to say, music. The Trip Through Hell, what a track, what a lead off. It's amazing. If you don't have this, like me, who was just recently getting it, check it out. Speaking of Canada, got into this, Syrinx. This is a sort of progressive ambient electronic group doing instrumental electronic stuff. I've heard their second album, and I didn't think too much of it, but this one I got just recently because the same seller where the Common People had this, and this is on the True North label, a sort of CBS subsidiary. And I guess they were somewhat known because they did the theme song to the 70s, I think, documentary that was aired in Canada. You Canadians out there, you can educate me on this. But I really like this record. Sort of reminds me of Mother Mallard. I've been listening to them a little bit lately. And this is, like I said, the first album from 70. And this is the Canadian press on True North, the one and only pressing. But it is a Columbia record. I'd love to do, someone out there I'd love to see even, to do a feature on all those crazy rare psychedelic stuff that came out on the Columbia Canada label. There's definitely 5 to 10 amazing records that you can talk about. But anyway, this is definitely instrumental, heady ambient electronica that I really dig. Like I said, the second album I think I got a little more prog, if I remember. But really cool stuff. Okay, shout out to, I'm going to insert their name because I just forgot to look up who had told me about this record. It was in response to, I think, one of the Krautrock series I did, but this is Ton Losman. A White Room with Disintegrating Walls. This is a German progressive, folky, proggy record. As I said, by Ton Losman, not Blonsman, Ton Losman. One and only record. I believe it came in on, I'm forgetting this now, I think it was Pills, or one of the sort of more obscure German labels that did this. This is the reissue. I got this really cheap. It's on the Wawa label. $9. And it's got a nice insert and everything. I believe, yeah. Just wondering to what you think. Here's something else. Speaking of Germany, Jackie Liebezeit, Holger Shukai, and Connie Plank were a part of this amazing Japanese record by Few, self-titled. This is unlike anything else. It's sort of new wave, sort of experimental, sort of punk. And it's her first album. Few is otherwise known as... She's still making music, by the way. Shinichi, I'm missing her first name, unfortunately. Sorry, I'm blowing on all these details. But this is like, I'm gonna put samples on some of these songs, but this is something cool. So Jackie Liebezeit, the drummer of Can, Holger Shukai, the bassist of Can, are playing on this. Connie Plank producing. This is from 1981 on Pass Records, and like I said, she was in Aunt Sally, which I'm really after, sort of more arty post-punk record. And this is just strange dance-ish, progressive new wave, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. Anyone out there has heard this? I've heard this a shout out to my friend George, who runs Angry Man Records. He played this a year or two ago. And I've been just looking for it, or at least sort of, it's been in my want list and sort of on top of mind of like something to look for. And I love it so much. Hopefully that Aunt Sally record comes next. Some jazz here. I showed this on Instagram. I got it at Angry Mom as well. The Stanley Cowell Trio, Illusion Suite on ECM. What a beautiful... I played this just while it was snowing out, and it was such a beautiful, almost fall-esque sort of record, even if it fits in the winter. And this is with Stanley Cowell, of course, Stanley Clark playing bass, and Jimmy Hops. Just the trio. On ECM, it's got some ring wear and things to it, but the record is clean. This is the ECM US version. and it's kind of modal, I suppose. Wouldn't quite call it an avant jazz record, but just a lovely early '70s session that can work as sort of like for the more adventurous listener, or just sort of like a late night, like sort of relaxing afternoon listening session. Stanley Cowell Trio, the only Stanley Cowell record I have. With jazz, I buy what I can locally. I don't usually order a lot of jazz online. There's been a few times, as mentioned in my last video, but I try to buy only locally because a lot of jazz comes through. Speaking of that, here's one I just brought home today. Pharoah Sanders I did not have. Black Unity on the Impulse label. This is incredible. It's got, we thought, a synthesizer or like a Shruti box on it, but it's not credited. This is just side 1 and side 2 of Black Unity. 1972, I think it is. Impulse. And there's a copy of Karma there, which I'm really hemming and hawing about. But who do we have on this? In any case, Black Unity, we have, in addition to Pharoah, Carlos Garnett, Norman Connors, Stanley Clarke again, Joe Bonner, Lawrence Killian, Cecil McBee, Marvin Peterson, Billy Hart. Those are everyone's getting credited to, but it's just Norman Connors, Lawrence Killian, Joseph Bonner, and Stanley Clarke are the ones getting actual credit in the gatefold here. I have more. There's everyone listed there too. Like I said, I just brought this home today. I've heard it once in the store, but the record's in great shape. The sleeve's got some ring wear and a hole punch, but very presentable, clean. I love Pharoah. I have, this is maybe my fifth Pharoah Sanders record, I think. Anytime I see him, I grab him. This is right before Easy for Sam, which I have as well. Amazing. And last thing, I'll touch more on Zamrock, just real quick. This Ricky Banda I finally got, never before reissued, other than the By All Me Please box set. If you like the Amanaz record, this has got that dark and moody tone to it, sort of not the fuzz sort of rave ups that some of the other records are. I really enjoy this. Ricky Banda, and it's just called, Niwanji Walwa Anwisho. I've been comparing, and still more to listen to, with the Two Witches, the Private Press edition and my old Shaddux version, their first album. This is one of the earliest, if not the earliest, Zamrock record from 1972. The Great Witch, introduction. It's sort of more lo-fi run through with some of the same songs. And every single song is the same, except this one has 10 and this one has 9, with the last song, I've Been Away for Too Long, not on the more later edition, the Shaddux edition. So some more research should be done on this. What I did find out was with the Ngozi Family, 45,000 volts, and I have 2 versions. I was just assuming I'd keep this with the original cover, thinking it was going to be remastered and sound better, and get rid of the first reissue. But what a weird thing I discovered. This is a reproduction of the 1979 I think it's South African sleeve, I think it is, or Ghana it was pressed in. This is what the sleeve looked like in 1979. And this is the original sleeve from Zambia, 1977. Now, not only is the tracklist sequencing completely different, however, this is sped up, or pitch shifted. It's pitch shifted like way up, where this is sort of down. I don't know what's the true version. I got to do some emailing with maybe Strawberry Rain. Maybe he'll, I've had some dialogue with him. Maybe I can find out, because this is a Strawberry Rain now again to co-release, and see what's the deal. What's the pitch shifting situation? But a cool discovery, and sort of cool to have 2 different versions. All right, so that's all the sort of new records I've been listening to. Let's do the mystery box, the 2020 mystery box. So if you don't know, last year, the pandemic, the pandemic's done, right? 2020, no. Anyway, I stored away a giant box of records. Oh, here they are. I just scraped myself. And they're all sealed records. I got them working at the store, sort of new releases, some reissues, there's a few record store day titles in here, stuff that, like, I don't know, I guess in theory I thought I could put away. Maybe, like, it wasn't the most urgent stuff to check out. Like, all the new used finds and like, sort of the more rare records I would sort of, dig for and order or, find. Those went and got played, and I've been enjoying those. These I all stashed away as sort of like a little time capsule of records that I would get to appreciate later on in 2021. And the last video I did, one of the last videos I did, I started going into it and pulled out 5 grab bag style or whack-a-mole style, like Mazzy does, I suppose, and just opened them up and listened to them. I'm only going to do 3 this time, and I'll cut to videos of me playing them later. I'm not going to go through the whole process of playing them right now. I will open them. So let's do it. 3 random pulls from this box. There's lots of weird stuff in here. Yes. Killing Floor. Who just showed this? Rudo? Yeah, I think he did. I'm going to try to enter your contest. But this is, speaking of, like, I've talked about how I don't really like blues rock or progressive blues in the 60s and 70s. With the exception of bands like the Groundhogs. This record really hits that same boat. It ratchets up the psych in a way that sort of complements what they're doing with blues progressions and hard rock. So it is kind of a blues rock band, but it gets way crazy, and the cover is amazing. It's a record I had known about, and yeah, there was like an unofficial record store day issue of this that I was able to get cheap. Let's open it up, and then I'll cut to me playing it later. I'm not doing the pants trick today. I'm going to use my trusty blade. I'll keep the shrink on for now. The gatefolds, I may take them off. Here it is. Now, maybe some of you out there can tell me. There's been many reissues of this. It's a rare original. This is on the Radiation Roots, or Radiation Deluxe label, I think it is. Radiation Roots also did a bunch of reggae and rocksteady reissues. Curious of the legitimacy of it. It may not be legitimate, but it's apparently 180 gram. Remastered sound, very generic. But I didn't have a copy, and this was significantly cheaper than what it was supposed to be. There's a nice gatefold in there, which we'll get into. So this is Killing Floor, Out of Uranus. Let's play it. Next. Oh. Shout out to Noteable Archive, Michael. I think of Tortoise, I think Michael. This is their, well, I don't know if it's everyone's favorite. It's sort of known as the stock most, incredible Tortoise record. Although they're all different, incredible in their own right. But Millions Now Living Will Die. I'm sorry, Millions Now Living Will Never Die. Now, I used to have a CD of this a long time ago, and I still have about 1,500 CDs, by the way. I'm keeping them for now. And I did sell maybe 1,000 CDs 6-7 years ago. I sold my Tortoise CDs. And now I'm in the process of buying them back on record. I never had the records. So this is a just issued multicolored version of this. I don't buy colored vinyl, like, specifically, but I will buy it if it's like sort of a limited edition version and something to sort of like a little more of a keepsake. And sidebar, real quick while I open this, I know a lot of people talk about they're not thinking about buying records as like the value, and they're thinking about the music, and I respect that and totally agree. However, I do think it's a little foolhardy to not think about all these records in your collection as an investment. As much as you want to love the music, I think obviously you're taking care of it and doing all the proper things to store it, because Steve Carlson. I mean, I'm sure losing all those records like that was a heartbreaking thing, but that's a huge investment that you put into it. And not only is it the loss of a love of music, but it's a serious monetary situation, right? So I do think about the money I'm putting into this, and I am in the process of insuring everything because it is an investment. And when I'm not around anymore, I want someone to either enjoy the heck out of these things or make a bunch of money off them, frankly. Um, you know, these are collectibles. These do have value, and I think it's important to understand that and treat them as such, and to love and cherish them for that. And it's okay to buy things thinking about sort of the value, and to purge your collection thinking about what's going to build value, and trading out and upgrading. So while I'm completely about the music and listening to records and that, I do think about the investment that I've been putting in over the last 25 years. So here it is. Millions Now Living Will Never Die. I can never get the title right, but I got it right that time. Yeah, so let's see what this multi-edition looks like. So, yeah, that's nice. I hope it sounds good. It should. Thrill Jockey always does great work. And if you don't know this album, you should. It's up there with like TNT for me. I love TNT a lot. That I have, and I have the self-titled album. And now I have this one again. One more record out of the grab bag, and then we'll say goodbye. Let's see if I can pick from. I'm not looking. What do we got here? Oh, this is a thick one. Do I have to even open this? I'm not going to open this. You've all seen this a zillion times. It's great. I love Tom Petty. I have a soft spot in my heart for Tom Petty, not because of some guilty pleasure or anything. I grew up listening to him. My dad, who passed away, as I mentioned in my jazz video 3 years ago, we grew up. I think it was a legendary road trip we took to Florida with my whole family, and we listened to Full Moon Fever, not this album, on a loop, on tape, driving to Florida from Long Island, long way. And I want to say that's all we listened to. And I know that album very well. I should probably own that record. I think I don't have the original tape of that, but I do have a tape of it, some of my cassettes. So I do love Tom Petty. I don't love everything, but like, how do you not respect Tom Petty? So I'm not even going to open this. This has been shown a zillion times. I haven't opened it yet. I mean, that's pathetic, isn't it? But I'm happy to have this. And this 3 LPs, like, I know it'll be back in print, but I'm glad to have it. So let's just do one more, because I just don't feel as though I want to use that as my last one. Here we go, baby. June of '44, Tropics and Meridians. I purged this original on quarter stick 15 years ago. Thought I was okay with getting rid of it. Now I was wrong. This is fantastic post-hardcore out of Louisville, band that would form from the ashes of Rodin. And this was, a RSD reissue, colored vinyl. I got the other one in here too. That was also reissued. I didn't have that one before, but this one I did have originally with a different sort of textured sleeve, original quarter stick. Yeah, quarter stick, of course. Great label, affiliated with Touch and Go. And if you are into sort of the post-punk, post-hardcore, Midwestern sound, sort of great guitar playing, sort of textural. It's not about hooks or anything like that, but it comes from a sort of hardcore punk perspective, but they're sort of doing interesting things with their songs. You should check this out. I don't know what the situation with these reissues are. These were a one-time edition of 2000. I want to say that they'll be back like in black vinyl, but I haven't seen them yet. I'm so happy I got to get these. These were actually popular sellers here. Inner sleeve. Of course, Jeff Mueller was in Rodin, I believe it was. And this is from '96, recorded by Bob Weston, Chicago. Oh, I thought it was going to be clear vinyl, I thought it said. In any case, here's what we got. I don't know why I haven't listened to this yet. But I do know this record well, as I said, because I have had it. I think there's something else in here. Big poster. Yeah. Poster. Great band. Engine Takes the Water is the other record I have here. And I will now spin these, as I've spun and filed the last batch of mystery grabs. Let's just do this. But June of 44, Tropics and Meridians. That's originally from 96. Alright, that's it. Thank you. Take care. Have a great, hope you're doing well out there, BC. Really appreciate, again, always supporting the channel and watching and all that. A few other sort of quick shout outs to sort of channels I've been digging before I go. I mentioned everyone other than Chris Cole, brother Chris, John Coltrane 68. Really love, I'm so glad to see. I know going back years and years, I think you were making videos years ago. I used to watch Derek Higgins and he would bring you up, but I didn't actually see your videos then. Going back 6, I don't know, something like that, years. But I've been really loving your videos. They're sort of enlightening me in stuff I'm somewhat aware of, but want to dig deeper into. Great perspective and just a great sort of taste. I really enjoy what you're showing. So thank you, and great to go back and forth with you. That's it. Hope this video wasn't too long. It'll insert those sounds. And I have some cool stuff coming up, video-wise. That's about it. Be well, everyone.